everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and welcome once again to the bouncing and adorable Comic Vault. Today, I'm going to start a new Vault series reviewing all of the old issues of DC Comics' Powerpuff Girls, and I may eventually, when I'm finished with this, go ahead and get into the IDW issues as well. On New Comic Reviews, when I was doing those, I covered most of those issues, but I haven't done them all together, and some of those have actually more story arcs. These are all, as far as I know, one and dones. There may be some two-parters, I don't know, because I haven't gotten into this yet, and I'm going to kind of tackle this and digest it one issue at a time, so as I'm going along, this will be sort of like Spawn Year in that I won't know what's coming, and in fact, I'll never know what's coming, and in fact, with Spawn Year, of course, I pretended, like, with some of that I didn't know what was coming. This I really don't. I've not read any of these, except for the one I reviewed when one of these came in the mail for us, and then one of our viewers graciously decided to send me the entire series after I enjoyed that one so much, and I promised him a long time ago, and I hope he'll send me his name if he's watching this, because I don't have it right here. I filed all these comics long ago, and I don't have that name close. So anyway, if you are watching, first of all, thank you so much. This is one of the coolest things anybody ever sent us, the entire run of DC Comics Powerpuff Girls, and there's, I think, a couple years ago now that was sent to us, maybe not quite that long ago, and anyway, I don't know how much I'm going to have to say about these. I am pretty much, and I imagine, I always get myself in trouble when I say this, I imagine these will mostly be mini vaults, short, just a few minutes. I'll tell you what happens in this and give you any kind of critical anything that I happen to have on it, but I imagine these will mostly be plot synopsis. I'm sure a lot of folks don't have these and might enjoy, if they're big Powerpuff Girl fans, knowing what's in them if they can't get their hands on them. And as I said, if I have any critique at all, I will certainly be sure to bring that to the table here. So anyway, without further ado, Powerpuff Girls #1. I could have waited on these and turned this into another, year thing like I did with Spawn, and maybe tackle the TV episodes as well. But I don't know if I could ever eat enough, what would it take, candy hearts to put myself in a sugar coma for that, or maybe Lucky Charms, I don't know. Anyway, so Powerpuff Girls, although that would have been hilarious, because that would be quite the opposite of Spawn, yes? Anyway, so Powerpuff Girls #1, this one is written by Jennifer Moore and Sean Carolan, with art by Phil Moy. I've actually met Phil Moy. He is really cool. He's done a lot of this kind of stuff. This reads just like the other one of these that I've reviewed, just like a television episode. Almost hard to imagine that this was not an episode. And you go back and look at the special features on the box set, and you hear about how Craig McCracken was burnt out, and how the last couple seasons they were just really out of ideas. And then I look at some of these comics, and I'm like, there was still potentially plenty more to mine. And so when the show comes back, or this reboot that we're getting, it's gonna be really interesting to see if that seems true, and of course I don't know how true to the spirit of this, how close that flavor is gonna be, but I always thought that even though there were as many, I said 6 seasons of that show, that there still were plenty of fun stories that you could have told with this, and this is one that, like I said, I'm surprised was never done, considering the fact that Bubbles talks to squirrels, and that seems like a thing that could have been mined more than it was. What we get here might be kind of an obvious thing to do, considering how many somebody gets chemical X and becomes a super something episodes we got in this show. But here we've got a super squirrel, and it's hard not to be reminded of Squirrel Girl, considering how suddenly everywhere she's been lately in Marvel, comparatively, and she's got her own series now. And anyway, so basically what happens here is the Powerpuff Girls come upon the squirrel that Bubbles thinks is sick, and so she, in a fight with Mojo Jojo, the squirrel gets hurt, and Bubbles is trying to nurse it back to health. And how does she do that? Of course, she gives it Chemical X. At first, it looks like she accidentally gives him Chemical X, like it's turned backwards, and the other girls are like, no, don't do that. And then she gives it to him, and it turns out that she actually did that on purpose, it turns out. And I don't know, that does seem like something of a Bubbles thing to do. Well, it made us super, how bad could it be? Well, after a while, it fights with them naturally, as you might expect, and oh, by the way, it's really funny too because it has a cape that is a red cape, but with the classic line in the center, like the Powerpuff Girls have on their shirts, but it's draped behind him, and I'm assuming it's a male squirrel. I don't know. And anyway, so it seems to be going well for a while. It's fighting with them, and then it starts seeing people like they're nuts, and it has these great powers and doesn't know what to do with them, and so it starts sucking people into himself, and Bubbles has to kind of say the magic words to get him to spit out the whoever he sucks into himself. And once that happens to the mayor, Bubbles decides that something is wrong with the squirrel and that it's bad, and it turns out at the end, as the professor explains, that of course the squirrel's not bad. The Chemical X didn't make it evil. It's just a wild animal and doesn't know any better, so they have to send it back off into the wild. And at the very end, it's attacked by a bird, and it's able to combat its natural predators because now it has Chemical X, and so the day is saved thanks to the Powerpuff Squirrel. And it's fun. The spitting things out thing and all the saliva and that kind of thing is one of those things I always just I roll my eyes at with Powerpuff Girls, where it would do the sort of crude humor stuff, but it was always so cute and fun and bright and chipper about it that it was harder to be as annoyed as I would be with it with other things, and it didn't usually get to the potty humor place too often, but it would do that kind of thing. There was some, I suppose, some crude humor. And so this goes to that place, and I'm just kind of used to that, especially because this originally came out of a kind of immature college idea that Craig McCracken had that was originally called the Whoop-Ass Girls, and it's so you have to expect some of that kind of stuff, and it's not so gross and intrusive that I can't still enjoy the issue. My favorite thing about it, of course, is just that it's storyboarded just like a Powerpuff Girls episode. The action is dynamic and super fun, and the colors are wonderfully vibrant. And the thing I'm most impressed with, and I assume the series will be like this all the way through, is that the dialogue is written with a whole lot of different flourishes in the words in order to make up for the lack of line delivery, because so much of what made the show funny was the delivery from the voiceover artists. And what we have here is a lot of creative ways inside the word balloons, both in making words larger and smaller, bold, italicized, etc., that makes it kind of more part of the art, different colors with words, making it more part of the art, but also getting these voices in our heads. And if you're really used to this, if you've watched a lot of this show, it's very difficult not to just kind of play an episode reel in your head, and that's the best thing about it. I assume every issue is going to be like that, so I won't harp on that every time I read this, but that is what's most fun about it. All in all, if it were an episode, it'd be a pretty average episode, and it would be another one of those, okay, somebody gets Chemical X things. But like I said, I was kind of surprised that we never did anything with a squirrel like this. I should also note that probably my favorite gag in the whole thing is there's this panel on the first page right at the bottom where it's just a regular happy day in Townsville, and at the bottom the mayor is cutting the ribbon for the Townsville Insane Asylum. I think that's just hilarious. That kind of satire that always made this show so funny, and making fun of the of superhero tropes and that kind of thing, where you've always got an insane asylum, but this is such a happy, bright, chipper place that we don't even acknowledge the how scary it is that 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 there are so many psychotic people here in the city that suddenly we've erected one of these things. So anyway, everybody, thanks as always for watching. Sure appreciate it. And as I said, I have no idea how much I'm going to have to say on each of these, but I'm going to roll through them. And sometimes these episodes might not be more than 2, 3, 4 minutes. But I'm going to, just show you these issues and tell you a little bit about them. And hope you enjoy it. Anyway, if you ever want to send me anything to review on the Comic Vault, you can always send that to our P.O. Box. That's Geekvolution, P.O. Box 4733, Overland Park, Kansas 66204. And until we meet again, I am Captain Logan, saying happy reading.